I've been doing paid public speaking engagements now for the last 5 or so years, but the last year has been really instrumental and really profitable. And I'd like to share some of these tactics with you so that if you are someone who's interested in getting some speaking gigs and would like to earn as much as $5, $10, $15, $20,000 per engagement, I am going to spill all my secrets to you. I have no desire to charge for a webinar. There is no class that you have to take. Just watch this video, hit the subscribe and like button, and enjoy. So let's get right to it. Number one, it's really important to be a master of one trade. I am not afraid of the man who knows 10,000 kicks. I'm afraid of the man who has done one kick 10,000 times. It is so important to be a subject matter expert. For me, the topic of leadership, specifically sales leadership in the business to business space, has been something that I've been very passionate about. I spent the better part of a decade teaching sales leadership as the head of sales training and enablement for a publicly traded company. Talking about this not only makes me happy, but it also gives me satisfaction to see others learning. There's probably something in your world where people have told you, wow, you're really good at this, and it could really be anything. There's no shortage of engagement gigs out there to be had, and I think people are nervous to go out and seek a speaking engagement because they don't know if there'll be an audience for it. I promise you, there's an audience for it. Number two, there's no shame in reaching out to people and promoting yourself a little bit. When you're brand new to speaking in front of audiences, nobody really knows you yet. So you're not gonna land a speaking gig in front of 10,000 people and make $100,000. It just won't happen as your first ever gig. And there are companies out there that promise to promote you. They'll say, hey, how would you like to make $20,000 a gig? What they don't tell you is that it takes about 5 to 10 years for you to build up a reputation for yourself. So in your first few months, you will have to reach out to people. But it's actually not that hard and can be a lot of fun. For example, if your preferred speaking engagement is on the topic of child psychology, maybe you're a great child psychologist, then go reach out to the parent-teacher group at a school. Go reach out to any parental group, really, and you can use Facebook groups and just say the words, hey everyone, I'm trying to do more speaking engagements. I'm an expert on this topic. Would anyone love to have me present to their group? Number three, you can't charge for your first 3 to 5 speaking engagements. And if you do, charge very little. You're still building a portfolio right now. For my first 3 speaking engagements, not only did I do them for free, but I also managed to do a little bartering. There's no shame in doing 3 to 5 speaking engagements for free. It also gives you really good practice. But here's a pitfall. Don't get in the habit of giving away your services for free. You're only doing it temporarily because nobody knows you yet. Number 4, every time you speak, film it. Have somebody help you if you can afford it. If not, just buy one of those tripods and mount your phone to it and just film the entire session. What you're trying to do is build a portfolio. And the best way to build a portfolio is to film everything you say. After you're done filming, you're gonna chop up all the video footage that you took. So let's say you spoke for a half hour, clean up that session, make sure there's no ums or ands or a lot of filler words, and then put that entire half-hour session out on YouTube, Instagram, or all of the platforms of your choice. And then chop up little 30 to 60-second sessions, like little tidbits of intelligence, you essentially mic dropping a lot of knowledge bombs on people, and then take those 30, 60-second formats and then put them out on YouTube Shorts, Instagram Shorts, TikTok Shorts, and that'll give people a lot of insight as to how you think and feel about things in very digestible, bite-sized footage. Bite-sized footage is really hot right now. Number 5, this is the hard one, and this is the one you've kind of been waiting for. You should write a book or some sort of how-to guide or some sort of publication that says, I am an expert in this. Over the course of the last 3 years, I have written 3 books. The first one is Creating a Winning Culture. The second one is The Evolved Leader. And the third one is Politics versus Gravity, The Rules of Sales. All 3 books are on the topic that I consider myself an expert on, which is sales leadership and sales training, specifically in the business to business market. You can write your book for free on Amazon. You can publish your book for free on Amazon. You can record your audio book for free on Amazon. Obviously, Amazon will take a cut. I really don't need to have my garage full of books right now and hoping somebody orders them. Going through Amazon allows me to print a book only when somebody orders it. I literally carry no inventory. I feel like the dealer at the blackjack table. I have nothing that I hold on to in my house. I wrote the book using a Google Doc. I made it pretty using Canva, and then I published it on Amazon, all for free. It took a lot of time. Obviously, my energy is not free. My time is not free. But what these books do is they give me credibility every time I go up and speak to an audience. And that, in my opinion, out of all the pieces of advice I can give you, is the single most important. Being an expert, a subject matter expert, instant credibility that allows you to charge a whole lot more. I went from charging nothing, moving up to charging a few hundred, and then moving up to charging thousands. And having the books, the publications, was probably the number one reason I've been able to do that. Number 6, and this is just a bonus piece, every time you speak to an audience, at the end of that presentation, send a survey to the people who saw you. You're not gonna make tens of thousands of dollars by being soft when it comes to people's feedback. Time to develop a thick skin, a little bit of an armor, if you will, and take people's criticism and then learn from it. But more importantly than the criticism is the ability to have hundreds, if not thousands of people's email addresses. After you speak to an audience, you're trying to develop something called the avalanche effect. When people fill out that survey, you have their email addresses, and then once a month, you start sending newsletters. At the beginning, it's not gonna be to a lot of people. It might be to 5 or 10 people, depending on how big your audience was. But then over the course of the next 3 months, 6 months, 9, 12, 15 months, you now have an audience of thousands of people who have seen you speak, thousands of email addresses, and if you send them a weekly or maybe even just a monthly newsletter saying, hey, here's what's new in the topic of X, you are now building an audience and a brand for yourself. And the reason we call it the avalanche effect is because at first it means nothing, it's just a little snowflake. But then after a few months, it becomes this big ball of snow, and then your phone starts to ring. These are my favorite 6 ways to start a speaking engagement career and how to maximize profits in your first couple of years. This last year has been magical for me. The first few years have been pretty shitty, I'm not gonna lie to you, but the last year has been really great. I've been hired by companies like Uber, by iHeartMedia, companies that are very well known and have a really great brand. You've made it to the end and you've watched this far. You know you can't leave without hitting the subscribe and like button. Thank you, I appreciate you. Happy selling.